final question, and for most of those who have been listening to you so far, this would probably be the most important question. Many of those who know you as an activist. They know you are in the business of correcting things and improving and reforming things. They may not know you are also a chartered accountant, and that when you talk about figures, this is the background from which it comes. You mentioned that there are about 87 million Nigerians in extreme poverty. But you've also mentioned that quite a number of them you can actually, and you will actually move out of that situation in what many would consider a fairly short while. Very ambitious. How do you intend to do that?
So the first thing is to correct this idea of you're an activist because I have my professional training. My professional training is very strong. And I moved from being chartered accountant into the field of economic policy. And that's where my skills lie. When I worked with countries, it was to enable them have the right economic policies to grow their economies. So I don't just talk figures. It's what I do for a living, to enable countries, to enable presidents on the continent of Africa, some of who would tell you that the economic growth in their country has been very important for them because they chose to listen to humble advice that a person like me would give to them. So economic policy is my forte. And I do know that there are things you do in order to grow. If you don't grow, you can't tackle poverty. The minute we entered into lower growth, we began to drop more people into poverty. When then we entered into recession, we dropped even much more people into poverty. And so the way to get ourselves out of more people dropping into poverty and the ones who are already in poverty staying permanently in poverty is to grow rapidly out of these lower regions of less than 3% of growth. We need to do a multiplicity of things, some of what I said. We need to bring the private sector at the center of our economic development. This particular administration has a very funny relationship with the private sector. They talk a lot about the private sector, but they contradict all the talk by their actions. And so the policy consistency that enables the private sector to know that whether it's in terms of our fiscal policies or it's in terms of an independent central bank under my presidency that would have the complementary monetary policy for fiscal policy, they can be sure that the policy will go in the general direction that incentivizes the private sector, be they indigenous private sector or foreign investors, to want to invest in our country. Policies make all the difference. But besides policy, the business environment has to be welcoming. Business is skittish to an environment that puts too much hassles on it. And so the bureaucracies that has made it difficult for businesses to operate, too many regulations, too many rules, too many demands, all kinds of things that just stand in their way. We're simply going to be an intelligent government that enables business to operate with light touch of regulatory swamp. We're going to use as much technology as an interface with the private sector so that needing to come before individuals in the public sector who are going to delay them and waste their time, that would be unnecessary. All of these things about the doing business environment, it's going to change radically. I've had to help countries do that and then end up on the list of fastest reforming countries globally in the doing business ranking. We're going to look at what kind of complementary public investments do we need? Serious public investment do we need? What kinds of priorities? Building world-class human capital is key for me. That's why education is the heart of our economic strategy. Because education that is relevant, that is about skills, education that is very present and futuristic is going to determine the kind of competitiveness that we have compared to other places that businesses could go. Businesses are in constant search for talent in today's world. Globally, you could be in the backwaters of whatever country you care to be. But if the skills are there, businesses will come to find those skills. We must make building the Nigerian people into world-class skills part of the vision for how we go higher up in the world. You look at infrastructure that you need. The Chinese would say, you want to develop a people, or you want to take a people out of poverty, give them roads. The roads connect them to the market. When the Chinese finally got the understanding of the importance of the market, they couldn't let go of the understanding of the market. So roads, roads, and more roads. I'm not talking about just urban roads. I'm talking about making sure that our rural communities are integrated into the markets, because that is going to be the basis of improving income. When people's income improve, either because you moved them from being unemployed to having jobs, or you move them from one low level of income to a higher level of income, you take them out of poverty. So major for us would be those critical infrastructure, roads, energy, those skills, those trainings that we need, access to education, relevant one. And then those environments that make it easier for a businesswoman, a little trader who has not seen herself beyond a subsistent trader or a subsistence farmer to begin to look beyond informality and to imagine that she could have structure around what she does. We're going to run that kind of economy. So the emphasis on ensuring that the Nigerian economy becomes a productive and competitive economy, that is just going to be the heartbeat of the way we look at our economic management. We want it to be that every individual in Nigeria and Nigeria as an enterprise works. Not only does it work, we have an initiative called Work, Work, and More. It's the heart of productivity. We're simply going to build a structure of an economy where you move from low productivity to higher productivity, because you see that the incentives are there for you to do so. We want the private sector to really be at its best. And my business as president of Nigeria would be to coordinate that process where government is not a hindrance to the citizens, is not a hindrance to businesses, where government really is visionary and seeing the things that need to happen in order to further facilitate. I believe that our young ones can rule the world of the fourth industrial revolution. I believe in their prodigious talent that I already see within the technology world. I just cannot wait to sit with these new class of Nigerians who already are playing in the global world of technology, holding their own, and to say to them, what must we do for you to take on the world? JFK woke up one day and said, we're going to go to the moon. They went. I'm going to say to our young people, we will seize the 21st century. And they will.
Mrs. Ezekwesili, thank you very, very much for talking to us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.